All right, so we're back for another deep dive, and today we're going to be looking at morning routines,
Okay.
but with a bit of a twist. We're going to be looking at them through the lens of learning English.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the source material we have for this is this fun and insightful YouTube video,
Hmm.
and it really takes us inside this student's really detailed morning routine to kind of uncover, how language can actually reflect our habits and our relationship with time.
I like that. It's not just about the vocabulary,
Yeah.
It's about how the words we use can reveal deeper things about us, like our
Mm.
personality or how we approach the world.
Yeah, totally. And it's so let's meet Stephanie. She's kind of our guide for this whole linguistic adventure.
Okay.
And her morning routine takes a full hour and a half.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Dedicated?
Talk about dedication, right?
Oh.
It really makes you wonder what that level of detail reveals about a person.
For sure. It's like a window into her personality in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe she thrives on structure. Or maybe it's about feeling confident and prepared before facing the day.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, this meticulous approach of hers really sets the stage for some great language learning.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's a stark contrast to Jacob. He's another speaker in the video.
Okay.
And he seems to have just a much simpler routine.
Okay.
Shower, get dressed, brush his teeth, and out the door,
Yes.
all in like a half an hour.
Wow.
Which just goes to show there's no one-size-fits-all approach to mornings.
No, definitely not. And that diversity of experience, I think, is also reflected in how we use language.
Right.
So the video actually uses Stephanie's routine to teach about adverbs of frequency.
Okay.
These are those words that describe how often we do something.
Right, right.
And it's almost like, like how a chef uses ingredients to create a dish.
Uh-huh.
They're taking this raw material of Stephanie's morning and turning it into this language lesson.
That's such a good analogy.
So, for example, they use the fact that Stephanie frequently washes her hair, like twice,
Yeah.
to illustrate the meaning of frequently. She does it often, but not every single time.
Okay.
And they really dive into those subtle differences between adverbs like often and frequently,
Mm-hmm.
which can be tricky for language learners.
Yeah, for sure. For someone new to English, those could seem like they mean the same thing,
Right.
but frequently usually implies a bit more regularity than often, right?
Exactly. And the video gives lots of examples to help understand the nuances.
Okay.
Like you might say you often go for walks, meaning you do it regularly, but not necessarily on a fixed schedule.
Right.
But you'd probably say you frequently check your email, implying a more consistent pattern.
Oh, that makes sense. So it's about those small but important distinctions that make your English more precise and expressive.
Right. Cool. And they don't just stop at single words. The video also explores phrases like every day,
Mm-hmm.
every second day, and every now and then,
Okay.
just to expand your vocabulary for expressing frequency.
That every now and then really stood out to me. It's perfect for those things we do occasionally, but not regularly enough to call it a habit.
Yes.
Like remembering to pick out your outfit the night before.
Oh, tell me about it.
I know, right?
It's like this sporadic burst of organization in an otherwise chaotic morning.
And speaking of organization, we got to talk about Stephanie's hair routine.
Yeah.
It's a whole language lesson in itself.
This is where all those really descriptive words come in,
Okay.
to paint a vivid picture. So we learn about blow drying, flat ironing, and the dreaded frizz.
Ooh, yes, the frizz.
The video does a great job of defining these terms, even for someone who might not be familiar with hairstyling.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't just say flat iron. They actually explain it's this tool that uses heat to straighten your hair.
Right.
And they really bring that frizzy hair to life,
Mm-hmm.
You can almost picture it. Messy, sticking out,
Yeah.
made worse by humidity.
Yeah.
It really helps you understand why Stephanie goes to such lengths to tame it.
Yeah. I can relate to that whole frizz struggle.
Yeah.
Especially in humid weather, it's like a constant battle against nature.
But, Stephanie seems to have mastered the art of hair taming with her blow dryer and flat iron.
Oh, yeah.
It's like she has this arsenal of tools to achieve that sleek, straight look.
And this is where it gets interesting, right?
Okay.
Could her meticulous hair routine be a reflection of her overall personality?
Ooh, that's a fascinating question.
Like, we see how she uses blow dry and flat iron to describe specific actions.
Yes.
Maybe that same precision extends to her choice of words in other situations, too.
Makes you think.
It really does.
It suggests that our routines and habits can actually shape the language we use, which
Yeah.
is fascinating.
Okay, so let's pause here for a second, and I kind of just want to get your take on this so far.
Okay.
Do you see a connection between Stephanie's detailed routine and her use of language?
I mean, I definitely see a potential link. Her routine is very intentional and structured, which might translate to a preference for clear, precise language.
Right.
But I think we need to dive deeper into the rest of the video to see if that pattern really holds.
All right, well, let's move on to the next part of Stephanie's morning routine then.
Let's do it.
And get ready for some more language insights.
Sounds good. So moving on from hair, the video touches on Stephanie's makeup routine.
Okay.
And it doesn't really get into specifics. But there is this interesting detail.
Okay.
They mention that she's rarely seen without her hair and makeup done,
Oh, wow.
even when she's just wearing sweatpants to class.
That's so interesting. It seems like it's more than just about looking good, you know?
Right.
It's part of her daily ritual.
Yeah.
A way to feel put together and ready to face the day.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Exactly. It speaks to that consistency we were talking about earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like makeup is just this integral part of her routine,
Yeah.
almost like a non-negotiable step.
Which again makes you wonder if that same intentionality shows up in her language as well.
Yeah.
Does she choose her words as carefully as she chooses her makeup?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's fun to speculate.
Definitely.
And speaking of different approaches, remember Jacob with his super efficient routine?
Yeah.
So the video shows this great little exchange where he teases Stephanie about how long it takes her to pick an outfit. He's like, for me, it's just grab and go.
Right. He's all about getting ready in under 30 minutes,
Yeah.
while Stephanie's over here taking her time with every single step.
Yeah, it's such a great illustration of how routines can really vary so much from person to person.
Yeah, and it highlights how those personal preferences can be reflected in the language that we use as well.
Okay.
So, Jacob's focus on speed and efficiency
Mm-hmm.
might mean he gravitates towards simpler, more direct language,
Right.
while Stephanie, with her attention to detail,
Yeah.
might use more descriptive or nuanced language.
That's such a cool insight. You wouldn't think a simple morning routine could reveal so much about someone's personality and language.
It's true.
It makes you want to pay more attention to your own habits, right?
It does, and that's where the language learning aspect comes full circle, I think.
Oh,
By understanding those adverbs of frequency and building your vocabulary,
right?
you can express your own routines in a way that truly reflects who you are,
Mm-hmm.
even if your morning looks nothing like Stephanie's.
Totally. Like, I could say, I usually start my day with yoga.
Yeah.
Or, I seldom skip breakfast.
Exactly.
It's about finding those words that accurately capture your personal rhythm.
It is, and the more you practice, the more natural it becomes.
Okay.
You'll start to notice these subtle connections between your actions and your language choices.
Cool.
It's like unlocking this whole new level of self-awareness.
Okay, so we've unpacked Stephanie's detailed routine. We've explored those nuances of adverbs. And we've even touched on how all of this connects to our personality and self-expression.
Right.
But before we wrap up, I want to take a step back and consider something else.
Okay, I'm listening.
So we've been talking about how language can reflect our routines.
Uh-huh.
But what about the flip side?
Okay.
Could our routines actually shape the language we use?
That's a great question. It makes me think of that phrase, you are what you eat,
Mm-hmm.
but applied to language.
Okay.
If your routine is all about rushing and multitasking,
Yeah.
maybe your language becomes more fragmented or clipped.
Right.
But if you have a slower, more mindful routine,
Okay.
perhaps your language is more deliberate and thoughtful.
That's a really intriguing idea. It's like our routines become ingrained,
Yes.
not just in our actions, but also in the way we communicate.
Right. It suggests this really deep interplay between our daily habits and the way we express ourselves.
So imagine someone whose morning is like a whirlwind of activity.
Okay.
Always rushing, never slowing down.
Yeah.
Do you think their sentences might reflect that same sense of urgency?
That's possible, yeah.
Like short bursts of words, lots of commands and exclamations?
That's a fascinating possibility.
And on the flip side, someone with a more leisurely morning routine,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they use longer, more flowing sentences.
Yeah.
Like their language is full of descriptive details and reflective pauses.
Right. Just like their morning.
I love that it makes you realize how much our daily rituals can influence not just our actions, but our very way of speaking.
Yeah. It's like those morning routines are shaping our own personal language landscape.
Exactly. And just like those landscapes can vary widely, so too can the languages we kind of cultivate through our daily habits.
Well, this deep dive has been full of so many aha moments for me.
Me too.
And I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of this connection between language and routine.
I think there's so much more to explore here.
So for our listener out there, we're going to leave you with a little challenge.
Okay.
Think about your own morning routine. What words would you use to describe it? Is it like a flurry of quickly and efficiently? Or is it more of a symphony of leisurely and mindfully?
And maybe even more importantly, what do those words reveal about, the way you approach the world and express yourself through language?
Because your morning routine isn't just a series of actions.
Right.
It's a reflection of who you are
Yeah.
and how you interact with the world.
It's like a secret code to unlock a deeper understanding of yourself.
And who knows, maybe by tweaking your routine, you can even shape your language in new and exciting ways.
That's an incredible thought.
It is.
It's like we have this power to mold our language just through our daily habits.
So as you go about your day, pay attention to those small choices, those adverbs of frequency and those descriptive words that kind of color your world.
Yeah, and remember, your morning routine is more than just a way to start your day.
Mhm.
It's a chance to craft your own unique language landscape.
We hope this deep dive has given you a new perspective on the power of language,
Yeah.
the subtle ways it intertwines with our daily lives.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those morning routines inspiring.